Ever feel like you're just lost in the market? Today, we are going to skip all the dense academic theory and get right to building a super practical tool, your very own market map. And look, this isn't just about crunching data. It's about creating a clear visual guide that turns that feeling of uncertainty into confident, decisive action. So let's jump right in.
Okay, let's be real for a second. When you think about your customers, your market, your competitors, are you making decisions based on solid evidence, or are you kind of just guessing, flying on a gut feeling? Because that uncertainty, it's not just a feeling, right? It's a real risk that can cost you a ton of time, money, and missed opportunities.
But here's the thing. The most successful companies, the ones that really last, they don't rely on guesswork. They rely on knowledge. The best way to think about it is like this. Trying to launch a business without solid market knowledge is like trying to sail across a huge ocean with no map. Yeah, you might get lucky, but you are way more likely to end up completely lost at sea.
So, our first mission is to cut right through all that fog. We want to take that blurry, uncertain landscape and bring every single detail into sharp, crystal-clear focus. We're going to chart the entire territory by building a really detailed market map. You see, market knowledge is so much more than just a spreadsheet full of data. It's this incredibly detailed map of your world. And the more complete that map is, the less you have to guess. You start to see the entire landscape, the mountains, the valleys, the hidden paths, and you can spot those amazing, lucrative opportunities way before anyone else does.
So, how do we actually build this thing? Well, it's a journey, and it happens in 3 steps. It all starts with raw data, just the facts and figures. But when we put that data into some kind of context, it becomes information. And then the magic happens. When we understand that information so deeply that it actually guides our actions, that's when we finally achieve knowledge. And that knowledge is what our map is made of.
All right, so if market knowledge is our destination, the finished map, then marketing research is the blueprint. It's the step-by-step instructions that show us exactly how to draw it.
Now, if you look this up in a textbook, you might find some complicated 8-step process, but really, it all boils down to these 4 core stages. First, you got to define the problem. What is the single most important question you need to answer? Then, you design your research plan. After that, you go out and you gather the data. And finally, and this is the most important part, you analyze that data and you actually act on what you've learned. Now that second step, design the study, can sound pretty intimidating. I know, but it all comes down to just 3 fundamental choices. Seriously, no matter how big or small the project is, you just have to decide on your approach. Are we going qualitative or quantitative? Your sample, who exactly are we going to talk to? And your techniques, how are we going to talk to them? You get those 3 things right, and you are golden.
So let's open up the Mapmaker's Toolkit, shall we? The first set of tools we're grabbing is for qualitative research. This is where we stop counting things and we start exploring the really deep, human reasons why people feel the way they do, why they think the way they do, and why they act the way they do.
This slide basically shows the 2 sides of the research coin. It's a huge deal. Qualitative research is all about exploring the why. It uses stories, conversations, and observations. It's what we call inductive, which just means you start by observing and you let the big ideas and themes emerge naturally. Quantitative research, on the other hand, is all about measuring the how many. It uses numbers and stats to test a specific idea that you already have in mind.
Okay, I have to show you one of the most powerful tools in the qualitative toolbox. It's called the laddering technique. Basically, it's a way of interviewing that helps you get past all the boring, surface-level answers by repeatedly asking, why is that important to you? It helps us connect a simple product feature all the way up the ladder to a core human value. It's like a superpower.
Let's make this super real. Imagine a creator is about to launch a new shirt for their community. They sit down with a fan and kick off a conversation with a really simple question, just to start the laddering process. So the fan might start with a really simple product attribute. I like it because it's a dark color. Now, a lazy researcher stops right there, right? They write down fans like dark colors, and they call it a day. But not us. We're going to dig deeper by asking, okay, and why is that important?
And there it is, the next rung on the ladder, the consequence. Because it makes me look slimmer. Okay, now we are getting somewhere. The feature itself, the dark color, isn't really the point. But we're not done yet. We push one last time. And why does that matter to you?
And this is the gold. This is the top of the ladder, the core human value, because it makes me feel more confident. Do you see what happened? They aren't buying a dark shirt. They are buying confidence. That is the kind of deep insight that builds truly powerful brands.
Okay, let's switch gears and grab our second set of tools. If qualitative research gave us that amazing why, then quantitative research is going to give us the how many. This is all about getting the hard numbers to back up our insights and measure just how big an opportunity really is. The whole goal here is pretty simple. We want to take what we learned from a smaller group of people, that's our sample, and be able to confidently say it applies to the entire market or the population. To do that, we use structured tools like surveys that have multiple choice questions or rating scales so we can get clean, measurable data.
So let's circle back to our creator. After those interviews, they might run a survey with a few hundred fans and get a chart that looks like this. Whoa! 65% care most about eco-friendly material. Now they have hard numbers. They know that while design and price are important, the single biggest driver for almost 2/3 of their audience is sustainability. That's not a guess anymore. That is data that can directly drive a huge production decision.
All right, now for the final and honestly the most important part, putting it all together. A half-drawn map is still just a guess. We need to combine both of these approaches to create a complete, totally reliable guide for all our decisions.
I absolutely love thinking about it this way. Your qualitative research, all those stories, the whys, that's the color and the texture on your map. It tells you what the terrain actually feels like to walk on. Then your quantitative research comes in and draws the precise borders. It measures the height of the mountains, and it tells you exactly how big every opportunity is. You really, truly need both.
So what's the ultimate payoff for all this work? Well, when you have a complete map, you can build a better product. You can craft a message that actually resonates with people. You can make smarter, faster, and way more confident decisions. You're not just guessing anymore. You are navigating with a clear destination in mind.
So, as we wrap up here, I want to leave you with this one question to think about for your own business or your own project. Take a good, hard look at your own map. Where is the fog the thickest? What is the single biggest unknown, the one thing you're still just guessing on? Because identifying that blank space, that's the first step to drawing a much, much better map.